Hi, boys and girls. I am back with another story for you. This is going to be our last story this week from author Kevin Henkes. And I'm going to go ahead and put the cover up of our story that we are reading today. This is called Bailey Goes Camping. If you remember our other two stories that we read earlier this week, we were kind of looking at how the illustrations or the pictures can show how a character is feeling. That was with Sheila Ray the Brave. We also kind of saw that in some of our older stories. We also then read Julius, the Baby of the World. And in that story, we kind of saw how the author can use the words to show us what the character is saying or what the character is doing in their actions. That can kind of show us their true feelings also. And in the story that we are going to read today, we kind of want to look at what characters say and do to show us how they feel about other people. So kind of think of it like this. If you really want to show your mom and dad that you really care about them, so you might help them around the house by cleaning up your room or, putting your dinner plate away after you're done eating. Just kind of doing something to show them that you appreciate, what they are doing for you by making you dinner and giving you toys and stuff to play with. So those are actions that we can do to show that we care about someone else. So that's kind of one thing that we want to look at in this story today. And if you think back to one of our older stories that we read, I believe it was last week, when we read the story about the boy and his granddaddy, that was called When I Grow Old With You. We kind of saw that they did all kinds of things together, and they showed each other how much they really loved each other in their actions. They were kind of cooking and eating bacon on the porch. They were going fishing and going to the beach together. So they spent a lot of time together to show that they really love each other. And I want you to keep that in mind for our story today, because I want you to be able to tell me, how do you think the characters felt about each other at the end of our story? What did they do to show how they felt? Did they love each other? Or maybe not so much. Maybe they didn't like each other and they didn't do things together, or they were mean to each other. So I want you to think about that when we read our story, Bailey Goes Camping. This is a short one today. Bruce and Betty were bunny scouts. They were going camping. Bailey had to stay home. I want to go camping, said Bailey. You're too little to go, said Bruce. But in a few years you can, said Betty. Don't feel bad, Bailey, said Bruce. It's not that great. All we do is eat hot dogs and live in a tent and go swimming and fishing and hunt for bears, tell ghost stories, fall asleep under the stars. And don't forget roasting marshmallows, said Betty. That's the best part of all. Go ahead and look at our picture there. How is little Bailey feeling? Yeah, she looks pretty sad. Bailey watched Bruce and Betty leave. It's not fair, he said. Come on, said Papa. Let's play baseball. No, said Bailey. Want to help me bake some cookies? Said Mama. No, said Bailey. We could read a book, said Papa. No, said Bailey. I want to go camping. Well, you're just too little to go, said Papa. But in a few years you can, said Mama. So why can Bailey not go camping? Yeah, he's just too little, so he can't really go right now. Don't feel bad, Bailey, said Papa. It's not that great. Oh, yes, it is, said Bailey. You get to eat hot dogs and live in a tent and go swimming and fishing and hunt for bears and tell ghost stories and fall asleep under the stars. And best of all, you roast marshmallows. You know, said Mama, you can do all those things right here. I can, said Bailey. He can, said Papa. Yes, said Mama, smiling. What do you think Mama's plan is? Let's go ahead and find out. That afternoon, Bailey ate hot dogs and lived in a tent. He went swimming and fishing. That night, Bailey went on a bear hunt and told ghost stories. Who is he telling his ghost stories to? He's telling it to Mama and Papa. Keep that in mind. And best of all, he roasted marshmallows. Before falling asleep under the stars. Now, as our story, Bailey Goes Camping today. Let's go ahead and talk about that for a minute. So, at the beginning of the story, Bailey's brother and sister were going camping, and we already said Bailey was too little to go. We know Bailey was really upset about it. He really wanted to go camping and kind of do all the fun stuff that they were doing, but he just couldn't. What did Mama and Papa do in this story to kind of make Bailey feel better? What were their actions? Yeah, they kind of helped put on a big camping trip or kind of do some camping activities that Bailey would have done if he really went camping. So you might have said that they cooked marshmallows, they went fishing, he went swimming in the bathtub. They even did a bear hunt where Papa pretended to be a bear. So looking at Mama and Papa's actions or the things that they did, how do you think that they really feel about Bailey? Did they have to do those things? No, they didn't have to. They kind of wanted to show Bailey that they really cared about him. They wanted him to feel better. They didn't like to see him feeling upset. So that was one way, just a short, cute little story that the author can show us how a character, or in this case, two characters, Mama and Papa, felt about another character, Bailey. They really cared about him, and they wanted him to have a fun time since he felt left out from their trip. Okay? So there's a lot of different ways that the author and the illustrator can show how characters feel, things they do or things they say, or even things that they do or say for someone else to kind of show how they feel about that person. We didn't really know how Mama and Papa felt in the story. They didn't say that. They just kind of showed how they felt about Bailey. We don't know if Mama and Papa were happy or mad or sad. They were just doing things for Bailey to kind of show how much that they wanted him to feel better. So that was really nice of them. So I hope that you enjoyed some stories from our author, Kevin Henkes, today. And I believe later in the year we will have another story that is by this author as well that you may have heard before. It's called Chrysanthemum. So that'll be coming up at a later time. So I really hope that you enjoy this author, and if you do, he has a lot of stories, so maybe you can go check out one and read it another time. All right. Bye-bye, boys and girls. Thanks for helping me read this week.